So very warm welcome, Kara, and thanks for working with us. Could you maybe tell a bit about your personal background and interests?
I'm a professor of transportation engineering at the University of Texas in Austin. So this is the capital of Texas. I've been here 22 years. I grew up in California, so I did all of my research and studies at the University of California, Berkeley. But here at UT, we do a lot of travel demand forecasting and behavioral prediction and trying to maybe modify that with policy interventions or design treatments and different practices. Vehicle designs, we do a lot of simulations of shared autonomous electric vehicles with ride sharing. And hopefully it's all, ultimately focused on trying to make the world a better place for our kids and for ourselves and for other species.
Yeah, and I know you from your work, your scientific work, of course, but I also found out that you were organizing this Bridging Transportation Researchers Conference. Can you tell what it is?
Sure. It's a conference designed to be free and easy to attend for anybody in the transportation field. So it covers all sorts of topics depending on who submits what types of papers. It's really up to the authors and the submissions. And so we'll take, I think maybe half of the submissions after a quick review process and stage a Zoom-based conference. That hopefully is a good time of day for a lot of people, but it is tricky because the world is a 24-hour globe. And so we try to make sure that all voices are heard everywhere in the world at zero cost at a time of year that's a good time for classes to be out of session. So our first BTR conference was in January of this year, and then the second one was in August. So here in the U.S., kids are out of school and the professors are not teaching at that time. And so we had quite a few presentations, but really from around the world. We had a lot of Iranians and we had Australians and people from Southeast Asia and of course Europe and the US and Latin America.
And can you tell a bit more about your specific reasons to set up this conference?
Yeah, I've always been amazed that people want to travel for hours and days ultimately to get to and from a place that's quite far. It's very expensive. You have to get into a hotel all to make a 30-minute presentation perhaps. And so I really think we can be doing that a lot more easily and reducing our carbon footprints while also reducing the cost, making it accessible to people in any demographic, in any setting. So we've got to be especially careful with people in Africa, India, and of course our own resources here in highly developed and wealthy countries. Those resources can be better spent on education for our students.
Ah, nice, yeah. And what are the experience so far from you and what you hear from the participants?
They've been really positive. It's so nice to see such a diversity of people. That's unusual. Usually you're only really seeing professors and maybe students from the host country or nearby. So this brings in people you've never met before who are doing really good work, especially from a place like Iran, let's say, where, for 4 years here in the U.S., we haven't been granting visas to people from several countries, and that's just been terrible, and it's always been quite difficult. So we really want to make sure that there is no barrier for participation.
Okay, and what are your plans for the future for the BTR conference?
Well, I think we'll do it every year. It's getting bigger. So at some point, we're probably going to have it at 2 times a day, one for Far East that includes the subcontinent of India, and then one for U.S. and hopefully European time zones. We keep it short, so maybe 4 hours a day. And then I need a lot of students to have access to a similar Zoom account system so that we've got them sort of managing each of the rooms, which works really well.
Hi everyone, I'm Elli Irannezhad and I'm so pleased to be talking about BTR Conference in IEEE Forum. Well, about my motivation, the truth is I always wondered that why sharing your research results should be very costly. To me, I believe that the conference cost should be very minimum so that anyone from any socioeconomic background can easily share their research without bearing significant costs. I myself, as a PhD student and then as a postdoctoral researcher, I have been always struggling to find funding to support my travel costs and the conference costs. Most importantly, because of my nationality that I'm from Iran, I had to basically ignore all US-based conferences. I had papers in TRB every year, but then my supervisors had to present the paper on my behalf. Considering that I was in Australia and that was my situation, I always pondered that how would it be for a researcher from an underdeveloped country like Africa or South Asia. Honestly, I don't care how amazing the catering is or how glamorous the conference venue is. I just want to be able to showcase and to share my research and do a bit of networking with the scholars within my research area. And I always was thinking that wouldn't it be amazing if every conference had an online platform alongside physical venue to enable those researchers who can't afford traveling because of the cost, or those who can't travel either because of family commitment, like having a baby or disability, or those who can't get visa. And also to minimize the carbon footprint of our travel and all of those hustle and bustle of visa process, jet lag, traveling, and etc. So Cara and I were talking about these issues over the phone, and then Cara mentioned, let's do it. We can start. And honestly, I didn't expect that it will be picked up so quickly, but I was so excited. And particularly in the second BTR event that we had earlier this year, it was amazing because world-leading researchers joined us, and it was such an honor for me to be the co-chair of that conference. And I don't care how much time or energy I spent on that conference, from organizing to managing the review process. My dream came true, and I have loved it. And honestly, I'm just very excited that now we have this online platform that enable any researcher from any country without putting any kind of barrier like cost or visa, and enable them to share their research with others. So thank you again for giving me this opportunity, and I hope to see you all in BTR3 and all the future BTR events. Thank you.
Nice. And where can people find more information about the conference?
It's bridgingtransport.org. But if you type, BTR and transportation, you should be led directly to that website for Bridging Transportation researchers.
Thank you so much, Kara. I think the BTR has set an example of having a conference with zero carbon and having maximal accessibility to researchers all over the world. And I think this was even set up before the corona crisis, but it has served us well. And I think it's a great example. So thank you for sharing this inspirational example with us, and good luck with your work.
Thank you so much, Bart. You too.